afternoon and welcome inside the Bear Zone alongside Rachel Turnock. I'm Ben Warwick. Kyle O'Neill and Michael Nowels will join us later on in the program.
Tonight, we'll catch you up on the past 2 weeks on the court and preview the upcoming Big Sky tournaments.
We've got profiles on club teams, athletes, and a look at a cool movement helping to train athletes.
All that and more coming up on Bear Zone. Stick around.
Kids will spend 8 minutes decorating their little brother.
Brushing for 2 minutes now can save your child from severe tooth pain later. 2 minutes, twice a day. They have the time.
Welcome to my block party. Glad you can make it.
The only triple doubles you get come with fries.
Last time you blocked someone, you were online.
I can do this all day. Your moves are just gay.
Using gay to mean dumb or stupid, not cool.
Not cool.
Not in my house, not anywhere. It's not creative, it's offensive to gay people. And you're better than that.
Welcome back to Bear Zone. On the hard court, the Bears briefly stepped out of Big Sky play to visit UC Davis in the Ramada Worldwide Bracket Buster Series. Tate Unruh led the team with 21 points, with Derek Barden below him with 17 and Paul Garnica with 12. So the Bears' offense was strong, but it wasn't strong enough for the Aggies' offense. Corey Hawkins scored a whopping 34 points, 4 of them being three-pointers. A jump shot with 2 seconds left from Paolo Mascola had the Bears losing the game 79-78. After the game, head coach B.J. Hill tweeted, "Proud of our guys. 2 losses at the buzzer this week, but they keep fighting. The best is yet to come with this group. There is no doubt."
With just 3 games left in the men's basketball team jumped right back into conference play and headed west for a big road trip against Eastern Washington and Portland State. They have only swept this road trip once since they've been in this Big Sky, and they needed at least 1 win to keep pace in the race for the conference tournament. Game 1 was against Eastern Washington, and this one came down to the wire. They needed an extra period to decide this one. Derek Barden was again, Derek Barden here. He had 28 points and 10 rebounds. Tate Unruh had 21 points to go along with that, and Tevin Sajhovic had 16 points. UNC doubled up Eastern Washington 16-8 in the extra frame to down the Eagles 88-80. After the win in Spokane, they traveled down the East Coast to Portland, taking on the 5-13 Vikings. This one wasn't as close. Barden was once again in double figures with 18 points, but Tate Unruh was the story in this one. He had 23 points. 15 of them came from behind the three-point line. He's quickly working his way up in the record books from three-point land. Another 10 points from Tevin Sajhovic helped secure the 85-75 win, the road trip sweep, and UNC's second consecutive win. This one had big tournament implications, but we'll get into that a little later.
Well, the men's basketball team looked to lock up a spot in the Big Sky tournament Thursday when they took on Southern Utah. Here's a squad now looking primed and focused on clinching another tournament berth. Let's pick up the action early in the first. Derek Barden. He's not quite able to hit the lay-in, but Connor Osborne, he's right there. He hustles up the board and tips this one in. Tate Unruh had himself quite a game. Here he gets the ball up court and nails the 3. Bears up 8 early now. Here's Tim Huskisson, just your average 3-point play, right? Nope, look again. Huskisson loses his shoe at the arc and is still able to finish the play. On the defensive end now, Huskisson comes up with this huge block in transition second half. Now check out the move from Tevin Sajhovic. He gets past his man and finishes with a nifty left-handed layup. But the play of the night belongs to Tate Unruh. No surprise. Here he comes up with a monster jam. Take another look at Unruh. Get up, young fella. Big dunk right here. Whoo. The Bears would go on to win this one. Final score 66-58. Following the contest, Coach B.J. Hill and forward Derek Barden both had great things to say about the team and how they handled adversity throughout the season.
Great team win. What I told these guys afterwards is I think I've been doing this for 15 or 16 years, something like that. I don't know if I've been prouder of a team.
I'm proud of this team. We fought from 7th to 4th, and that's a big step. We just, every day in practice, just practice hard, bust our tail every game.
How much luck did the women have in the past 2 weeks? They've been on a real hot streak and were looking to win their 9th straight when they took on North Dakota and Grand Forks. Molly Dean led the Bears with 12 points of her 4 of 8 shooting. DeShara Strange and Lauren Osdike tied for 11 points. Even though the Bears only shot 31% from the field and 25% from the three-point line, it was their defense that brought them to a win. UNC had 16 steals, 5 of them coming from Lindsey Mallon. It was a low-scoring game, but the Bears' defense is what brought them to their 9th win of a final score of 44-41. After the victory, the Bears traveled back home to host Southern Utah last Saturday at Butler Hancock. This game was the Bears' first loss at home this season. DeShara Strange scored 24 of the Bears' 57 points, but that wasn't enough to bring them to a win. Southern Utah shot 63% from behind the arc. UNC consistently shot the ball 72 times to be exact, but only made it 21 times. While the Bears clinched a spot in the Big Sky tournament, they will need a little help in order to host it. More on that later as well.
Well, they've had a string of close games the last few weeks, but none quite as close as the game they played against Eastern Washington. DeShara Strange gave the Bears an early lead with her aggressive drive to the basket. The game was tied leading into halftime until center Stephanie Lee hit a deep three to give the Bears the lead. UNC started off hot in the second. Lauren Osdike hit the second and the last 3 of the game for the Bears to give them a 7-point lead. The Eagles chipped away at the lead for the rest of the half. Laura Hughes got the old-fashioned 3-point play to go down for the late lead. Things were looking bleak late, but Lee came up with a big steal and pass to Strange, who knocks down the jumper. The Bears were still down by 1 and needed a steal. The trap would prove effective, and the jump ball was pointing the Bears' way. Everyone in the stadium knew who the ball was going to with seconds left, but Strange still got her shot and sinked it to give the Bears a 67-66 win. UNC football team storming the court to congratulate. Well, senior night is usually reserved for, well, the seniors, right? Well, tell that to DeShara Strange. The junior scored 15 points in the first 8 minutes of the game. Her first 2-pointer happened with under a minute, which started things off for the Bears. From then on, it was one after another for her. This basket counted as her 15th point of the game before Molly Dean made this 3-point jump shot to bring the Bears up 18-10. Strange was the only scorer for the Bears going into halftime. Strange already had 24 points. The Bears were up 39-22 in the second half start, and they were ready to finish off the Vikings. Osdike shot 2 back-to-back jump shots to bring the Bears up 50-25. Hannah Thornton made this shot from the paint to bring the Bears up 56-26. Less than 5 minutes left in the game. The seniors, they checked out for the last time at home and went to the bench. UNC finished with a 43% field goal percentage versus Portland State's 31. The Bears never lost the lead once in this game, winning with a final score of 63-48.
The team took one last road trip, this time to Cedar City, to avenge a loss on February 23rd to the Thunder Bears. So could they get them back on their home court? In a one-word answer, no. The T-Birds were a force from behind the arc, hitting nearly half their shots while keeping UNC to just 1 3 from Victoria Tim. DeShara Strange led all scorers with 25 and added 14 rebounds for yet another double-double. More on her later. Tim and Stephanie Lee both added 11 points, while Lauren Osdike added 6 and Lindsey Mallon had 5. The Thunderbirds held the bench scoreless on this one, and the two teams combined for 48 fouls, 40 of which came in the second half. I'm sure that's not how these seniors wanted to go, but they'll get another crack at the Thunderbirds this week in the tournament.
The Big Sky Conference office released their yearly awards on Monday, and UNC was no stranger on any of the lists. While they missed out on the MVP, 4 Bears were recognized as among the conference's best. Junior Derek Barden was selected to the conference's first-team All-Big Sky list, while junior Tate Unruh was named to the league's second team. On the women's side, junior DeShara Strange was named defensive MVP for the second straight year, and senior Lauren Osdike was named to the conference's second team. Kareem Jamar from Montana was named men's league MVP, while Montana's Katie Baker was named women's MVP. Well, we're just getting started here on Bear Zone.
Coming up next, we'll take you inside UNC Club Sports and profile a couple of conference-leading Bears. Stick around, Bear Zone will be right back.
Welcome back. Well, it's that one night, the final home game of the regular season for the women's basketball team, the night that's all about the seniors. Last Saturday, forwards Hannah Thornton and Lauren Osdike and guard Victoria Tim were the center of attention on the court. Each senior received flowers and a framed picture handed to them by head coach Jamie White and another player. It's a once-a-year event for the team, and it brings a lot of emotion to the game. So what did Coach have to say about Osdike and the other seniors? Okay, we don't have that clip for you. We apologize for that. You know, it is great to see the support from White, and those 3 Bears will definitely be missed.
It's no secret the women's basketball team has taken the court with passion to come out on top this season. But junior DeShara Strange is bringing some of her own rhythm to the court. Melina Hodzik has the story.
She has set multiple records in her career here at UNC and has helped her team climb its way to the top. But who exactly is Deshara Strange? We take a step onto the court to find out.
Thanks, Melina. We'll keep an eye out on other records Deshara and the Bears might break this season.
Well, it's been one heck of a season for the men's basketball team. Each game is still unpredictable for the Bears, but despite the roller coaster season, one player is adjusting quite well to the craziness as one of the best shooters on the team. Who is he? Well, we sent Rachel here to find out.
One player on the men's basketball team isn't just the big three-point shooter that most people see. When he's off the court, he's considered to be a very silly and funny, yet genuine guy. So who is this mysterious player that wears the number 15 jersey? Well, this season he averages almost 13 points per game and is shooting 44% from behind the arc. He's none other than junior shooting guard Tate Unruh. So how did Unruh become the successful player he is now? Well, with a little motivation from his former teammate, Devin Beitzel.
He was really hard on me, and I thank him for it now because I'm glad that that he saw potential in me as a leader, and I love leading these guys. That's one thing I really strive for. It's a passion of mine in my life. I want to lead anybody who will let me.
The fact that Unruh wants to lead the team doesn't go unnoticed, especially for teammate Tevin Sajhovic. He says he can see the passion that Unruh has.
He's taking it real serious. He wants it to be his team. He wants to be the leader, and he's been working on it with Coach Hill and everything. That's why I think you've seen his game improve so much, is because he's taken it upon himself to become that leader, and which has helped him on the floor too.
So it's obvious that Unruh wants to lead the team. But what exactly is it about him that makes him one of the best three-point shooters in the nation? Head coach BJ Hill said it's the motivation that Unruh has.
He deserves all the credit in the world for that. He's the one that spent hours in the gym and sacrificed and dedicated himself to perfecting his craft, and as a coach, it's just fun to watch him play right now with his confidence and the rhythm that he's playing in. It's a special deal right now with the way he's playing at a very high level, and it's fun to watch.
So he's a tough competitor whenever he sets foot on the court. But what exactly does this tough player like to do when he's not preparing for practice or for a game?
Oh, I like to hang out with friends. I'm a big movie guy. I love movies. I have to admit, I went to Safe Haven the other night and I loved it.
This just shows that his toughness on the court doesn't necessarily transfer to the type of person he is off the court. Reporting from Butler Hancock, I'm Rachel Turnock, Bear News.
Thanks, Rachel. I'm sure they're thankful to have him for another year.
After visiting CSU last weekend, the Bears softball team visited number 1 Oklahoma in Norman for the spring preview tournament. The Bears dropped the CSU contest 10-0 and dropped all 4 games in Oklahoma, losing to Drake twice, 5-2 and 14-1 on back-to-back days. They also dropped both games to Oklahoma, getting outscored 24-0 on consecutive days. This weekend, they travel to Reno to take on the University of Nevada and Texas San Antonio in the Nevada Classic. They don't make their home debut until March 27th against UNLV.
Well, the baseball team is getting their season underway, and while they don't come back to Jackson until March 29th, they've been busy on the road. After their home opener against Regis was rescheduled due to the big snowstorm, the team traveled to Santa Clara for a 3-game set. They dropped the first 2 games 7-1 and 6-1 before stealing Game 3 3-2. After that, they dropped a 2-game series at Nebraska 10-5 and 5-1 this past weekend. Next up, they head to Manhattan, the Kansas one, to take on the Wildcats of Kansas State before heading back to Cali next weekend to meet up with Cal State Bakersfield for 4. Well, we've got you up to speed on the NCAA teams around here, but what about your club teams? Well, Bearzone's technical director Anthony Sechrist takes us along for the ride with the rugby team as they flew to Arkansas to face off against the number 1 team in the nation, and what turned out to be a pretty lengthy trip.
Down in Jonesboro, but little did they know their 3-day trip would turn into a 5-day trip. And 3 hotels and a night in a church later, they finally made it back to Greeley.
The team headed to EAA to begin their trek across the nation. After a quick ride on the light rail, it's up the escalator and into the terminal. The plane ride lasts roughly 2 hours, and players pass the time with homework, video games on their phone, and of course a couple power naps. The team landed in Little Rock around 8 o'clock, and it was a quick trip to the restroom for many, before heading down to pick up their rides at Enterprise Rental. As always, the team is rolling in style.
Yeah, custom-made 20s.
First stop for the gents is Olive Garden. The team enjoys a few good entrees and even more laughs while loading up on carbs for the next day's match. Then, it's off to the Holiday Inn in Jonesboro for a night to rest up and mentally prepare for the upcoming game. The team wakes up early the next morning to get in a good breakfast and head to the field to square off against ASU. Coach and Professor of Sports and Exercise Science Mark Smith gives us a preview of how he wants to see the game played.
It's a long trip. We've invested a lot of time, invested money into coming out here. We're playing the number 2/3 ranked team in the country, unranked, so there's coming into a game where there's no expectations.
The team fought hard, but ultimately suffered a humbling 75-5 loss to the number 1 ranked Red Wolves. And just when they thought things couldn't get any worse, they found out their flight home had been canceled and they would have to drive the 18 remaining hours back.
As most Ruggers do, they decided to make the best of the situation and use the trip for what?
Team bonding. Team bonding. The team bonding.
That's right, lots and lots of team bonding. Tonight, it's a Best Western that accommodates the team as they try to sleep off the previous day's loss. 6 a.m. rolls around and it's time to rally the wagons. It's not so bad for some though. The vans have TVs and satellite radio to help pass the time. After 15 hours of smooth sailing, the team runs into a major problem. The roads are closed just outside of Lyman due to major whiteouts in the area. The only place to take refuge was the local Wendy's where the team stayed for nearly 3 hours. But thanks to a kind heart and a bit of luck, the team and others who were stranded were allowed to stay the night in a nearby church which had a ping pong table and cards to help pass the time. UNC Rugby President Stephen Black utilized the mini arts and crafts room, and teammates laughed over impressions of one another.
Freaking God, my knees just hurt. Like 7x3 knees. Tape them.
Many of them reflected on their favorite parts of the trip.
Sleeping next to T-Wiz for 4 days, which will be 5 again tonight, because I'm going to cherish the moment I wake up and I'm not this far from his face.
I got my own bed the whole time because Bobby didn't want to cuddle with me.
There's nothing good about this trip. I'm seriously looking up right now creative ways to kill yourself.
Well, it was a quick 3-hour ride back from there in the morning, and everyone was glad to finally be back in reality.
So what did the men's rugby team learn that day? 1, can't always count on Mother Nature, and 2, always pack an extra pair of underwear. Reporting from UNC, I'm Anthony Sechrist, Bear News.
Thanks, Anthony. Sounds like a crazy trip.
With all the basketball craziness, we can forget that hockey just wrapped up their campaign. Now, while they're not participating in the postseason this year, next year they look to be a force on the ice. Bear News reporter Miles Gregory tells us who we need to be on the lookout for next season.
The number to look for on the ice next year for UNC's club hockey team. Sophomore Mike Tabram is ready to have a breakout season for the Bears. Tabram had 9 goals and 6 assists in this past season, which is a big improvement from his total of 4 points in his previous 2 seasons. UNC's hockey team is currently on their off-season, and players like Tabram are looking to improve on their game.
Put muscle on so I can be stronger, so I'll be stronger on the puck.
Tabram was lighting it up from his position at left wing during the scrimmage and scored 4 goals within the first 8 minutes. On the ice, it is all work, but the captain of the hockey team, junior Brandon Pugno, shared a side of Tabram not many are able to see.
He doesn't always try to be funny, but like some of the stuff he does is funny.
The Bears are coming off of a great season. They went 21-9 this past year, and with the help of Tabram are coming into next season prepared to reach region.
Mike Tabram and the rest of the hockey team are gearing up for another great season. Look for number 27 to light it up next year. I'm Miles Gregory reporting from Ice House, Bear News.
I know I'm not the only one who can't wait for hockey season again next year.
One of the better club teams on campus is the lacrosse team, and while they've had a run of bad luck lately, they still prove to be very dominant. This past weekend, they took on arch rival Westminster and North Dakota State, both in the Rocky Mountain Lacrosse Conference with UNC. On Friday night, Westminster just dismantled the Bears 24-4. On Saturday, Westminster beat North Dakota State 16-5, and then on Sunday, the Bison down to UNC 11-5. The Bears don't play again until March 30th when they host Regis on the practice fields.
It's been hard to miss the men and women dressed in the white Claws Crew t-shirts at this season's men's and women's basketball games. We wanted to find out what exactly makes this crew of student athletes so unique, so we sent out Bear News reporter Jordan Doucette. Jordan?
The Claws Crew, the group of student athletes who throughout the season have undyingly supported the UNC basketball teams. First, I spoke with student athlete Will Jefferson. Here's what he had to say.
What it comes down to is this is one university. It's not like, it's not really a basketball, football, softball type deal. Like if one of our teams is, out there looking bad, that's going to reflect on all of us. And vice versa, if one of our teams looks really good, it's going to reflect on all of us. So I think it's more about, like as players and athletes in general, we want to just kind of like unify all athletics here and just kind of really support each other because we understand what they're going through during season. They understand what we're going through during season.
Next, I spoke with another member of the crew, Bears wideout Sean Leslie.
We want to get their back, we want them to get our backs, and just kind of get that tradition back that we lost over the years. I mean, we make it as fun as we possibly can for everyone. I mean, we might say some things that are wrong sometimes, but it's all in fun. We're just trying to get everyone to come out and make the community together.
Finally, I talked to Bears star forward Derek Barton, who told me the support hasn't gone unnoticed.
The football team just get crowd hype. I think they loud every time we make a basket or every time I dunk. They just talk to me like, get another one. I think I got shout outs to the football team and our supporters of the crowd.
Thanks, Jordan. It's always interesting to see what makes our student athletes so special here at UNC.
Well, the only real use of an obstacle is to be overcome. Reporter Raymond Jonoctonye met with people who make a living of jumping past their limitations, literally.
Parkour and free running is still unknown to most, but definitely worth to discover. I'm at Apex Movement in Loveland, Colorado to tell you more about this exciting up-and-coming sport. The term parkour comes from le parcours du combattant, which means the path of the warrior. An obstacle course method of military training proposed by the French and inspired by the athletic skills of indigenous tribes in Africa. Described as flexible, nimble, and resistant despite having no tutor in gymnastics other than nature itself, their legacy now sparks an exciting new philosophy and the idea of human reclamation. Trainers Jesse and Justin Clark tell us a little bit about what this is all about.
Humans, we forget we're animals a lot of the time, and what parkour is really moving the way that we were made to move, that biology has provided us a way to move. We do what our body was meant to do, and that gets us fit by itself.
We are demanding the elite fitness of every single sport and every single specialty that we have. Running, climbing, jumping, explosive power, all of these things, and we want to try and get the farthest the best of everything.
Sibling rivalry is still in full effect for these two brothers.
But let's be honest, we spend every day trying to outdo each other.
Yeah, there's no slugging in the middle of class.
We save it for after. Yeah.
But they put their forces together to reach out to the community and local schools like UNC.
We've been trying to go to CSU, go to UNC, and go to Greeley to train, but it's cool if people can just contact me and Jesse, even off our cell phone numbers, and be like, hey, we want you guys to come out here and train at Greeley or at UNC. I mean, Jesse and I are down to go and train. Any new spot we love. That's like part of the sport, is finding new places to train.
Reporting from the Apex Movement Center in Loveland, Colorado, I'm Raymond Jonoctonye, Bear News.
Thanks, Raymond. For more information, visit www.apexloveland.com or call 970-593-8056. We're not quite done here yet on Bear Zone. Coming up, Michael Nowels joins Kyle O'Neill in studio to talk about where the basketball teams go from here.
Come on back with us on Bear Zone on Channel 98.
Welcome back to the Bear Zone. I'm joined once again with Michael Nowels of the UNC Mirror. Mike, as always, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Now, with the basketball seasons drawing to a close for both teams, let's reflect on the seasons they both had. As far as MVPs for the men's team, who would you consider for that honor?
Well, it's tough to pick one player, obviously, out of a whole team, but you see the impact that Derek Barton had coming in as a new guy on the team, and he just really took over, was able to find his offensive role a little bit as the season wore on, but his immediate impact was on the boards there, where he just dominated. And then you also have guys, Tate Unruh, shooting those threes, and Connor Osborne directing that defense. But I think Derek really came in and had a really strong role right from the get-go.
And what about the women's team?
you look at the seniors, you've got Lauren Osdike, who's a good leader on the team. But I really think that the person who makes this team tick, the emotional leader, is Deshara Strange. She's playing with the ball in her hand. She can rebound. She can do so much out there. She really controls the court, and in their zone defense, she even plays down low. So she's really a jack of all trades and just able to really control the pace at which this team plays.
Yeah, she really does it all for this team.
Absolutely.
Absolutely incredible what she's been doing this season.
Definitely.
Now let's talk about the future of both programs. The women's team, you mentioned the seniors. They have 3 of them, including Lauren Osdike and Victoria Tim.
Mm-hmm.
How will the women's team look to replace the kind of production that those players offered?
Well, hopefully they'll be able to replace Victoria Tim. They've got a few freshman guards who came in this past year, Kylie Heiser, and hopefully someone from that freshman class will be able to jump up. In terms of Lauren Osdike, Kim Lockridge lost her starting spot to Stephanie Lee earlier in the season. Hopefully Kim can regain some of that force that she had earlier and fill that spot that Lauren's vacating.
Excellent. Well, thanks, Michael. We're almost done here on the Bear Zone. Come on back with us.
Welcome back. Well, that's all the time we have on Bear Zone, but don't go anywhere because we still have the tournaments to talk about.
That's right. We're dedicating another half hour to previewing all 14 teams in the men's and women's basketball tournaments. That'll air here on Channel 98 immediately after we're done here, and it'll also be up on our YouTube page.
So while we're done here, be sure to come right back after these messages. Thanks for joining us on Bear Zone, and we'll see you on the other side of this commercial break.
Good night.